did with Grandma. Death is coming for us because we were never supposed to exist. What?
Only by embracing death will it pass you by.
Maybe death's not actually coming for our family. Because that would be crazy.
Good luck.
What is happening, everybody, and welcome back to a new episode of Movie Madness. And today we are talking about the crazy, intense, gory movie of Final Destination Bloodlines. And I can tell you confidently, this movie is definitely one hell of a ride, and it is so worth watching in theaters. I mean, from the crazy deaths, which is what this movie is known for, to some of the surprising reveals, and even in their own way an emotional send-off to a cast member who passed away in real life. So without further ado, let's get into the movie. All right, so now if you've seen all the other Final Destination movies, you know basically the general premise of the movie is that there is a person who has a premonition of a major event that causes a lot of deaths, and then the whole point of the movie is for them to try to basically survive and help those who died survive death's design. Now, the fun part about this movie is that it does do that, but however, it does change it up on us. It's not as traditional as the other movies, and I absolutely loved it. And what I mean by that is, and I'm going to say this because it's in the trailers, it is basically we get introduced to a character named Iris, which is, she's the one that has the premonition of this building that falls, collapses, causes a lot of deaths, especially her own. So she's the one that basically stops it from happening and lets all these other people survive. The twist to this movie is that it happened back in 1950, or like in the 1950s. So she basically allowed a whole generation of people to be born that were never meant to be born. And the cool thing about this is that now it's coming down to her family as being the next target. And then she has a granddaughter named Stephanie, which she is the main character of the movie, and who's having these premonitions and can see death coming. So she's basically trying to have her family survive. Generally, that's the premise of the movie. And again, we don't try to get too much into spoiler on this, but one of the other things I will say about this is that the deaths that the grandmother Iris basically, stopped was the catalyst for all the other Final Destination movies. And that is just insane. And I'm saying that because it is mentioned in the trailer, and that is such a creative way at how to connect this movie to all the previous movies. So basically, the entire time we've seen all these other Final Destination movies is that death has been literally going in order, getting rid of all the bloodlines connected to this original this original death that it was, this original tragedy that was supposed to happen. So right off the bat, it was just crazy because throughout the movie we are not stopping an event that is going to happen or trying to change the events of an event that already happened, but in reality it's the aftermath of an event that happened over like 50 plus years ago. And it was such a crazy idea on how they decided to do that. I absolutely loved it. It was such a great and unique idea for this movie. Now, of course, this movie is basically a love letter to the entire franchise. I mean, we get a lot of those premonition moments, of course, with Stephanie, but on top of that, I mean, the different types of deaths that are done in this movie are absolutely insane. The CGI that was used actually was used very well, and then also whatever practical effects that they did use on certain things, I mean, there was so much blood splatter. It was freaking nuts. And I've seen a lot of these movies. I've seen a lot of horror movies, but there were some deaths that literally surprised the shit out of me throughout the entirety of this movie, and it was so much fun. I mean, like, if you have the stomach for it and you've seen the other movies, like, this movie, it does not disappoint, like, at all. And it's such a fun ride, a fun messed up ride, but such a great ride. And continuation into the franchise. Now, of course, as I mentioned in the beginning of this video, this movie is also a love letter send off to Tony Todd, who passed away in real life. I believe it was like either cancer or something like that. I mean, he's done so many great roles, and he's been in the Final Destination movies since the beginning. And what's really cool is his whole perspective, like his whole role that he plays throughout the entirety of the movie, and why he knows so much about death. And you know, when all the other movies, the characters come find him to try to, you know, get him to survive, basically. And so I'm not gonna spoil that. I'm gonna let you guys see that part, but there is a reason, and I love how they did that. And then also the way he kind of like walks off screen, it's as if he's talking to the crowd, you know, basically giving a great send-off to the audience itself. And you'll see what I mean when you watch the movie, but it is very like bittersweet. I mean, he's an amazing actor, amazing voice actor, and to see him, you know, this being one of his basically his final role that he did before he passed away, absolutely amazing. They did such a great job with his character. All in all, Final Destination is always been a franchise where, you know, these characters are trying to survive, and you just want to see the most effed up ways to die. And there is a scene in a hospital of how something happens, and I work at a hospital, so now I got some some questionable things about, you know, what could happen in that place, because holy crap. With all that being said, I definitely give this movie a 5 out of 5. It's such a great addition to the franchise. It did not disappoint in adding to the legacy, and the way it ends too kind of gives me an idea of like that they could continue it, honestly. The way the story, you know, closes also, in my opinion, can finally give it away to like a new generation. But that's all I'll say for myself. You can make your own opinion on that. As I said, such an enjoyable ride. Congratulations to the cast. It's doing great on reviews, and I loved it. So if you guys saw the movie, what did you guys think about it? And, you know, what was the most craziest death that you saw that just like, you know, blew you away? Because honestly, I can't even choose one. There was just so many intense moments, but I will say seeing the entirety of the building collapse scene, like that's shown in the trailers that happened in the 1950s, I'd say that one was a pretty damn and crazy, if I do say so myself. Thanks again, as always, for taking the time to watch another spoiler-free review, and I'll see you on the next one.